Hi everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Best of British Blackwell. Today I thought we'd take advantage of the fact that we seem to have this lovely extended summertime well into September, and I thought I'd light the Kamado up and make a lovely succulent spatchcocked roast chicken, or smoked chicken I should say, because it's going to be smoked on the Kamado. In addition to making the chicken, we're going to be reviewing a couple of products that people have sent me, so do stay tuned for those. But first of all, come over. Let's have a look at these ingredients and let's get this chicken prepped. So here we go, got a lovely big chicken here. This is a kind of family sized chicken, so we're not scrimping on size here. As you can see, it's quite large. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to spatchcock it. Now, people get a little bit nervous when they hear about that and kind of doing a bit of home butchery and doing something like spatchcocking, but I promise you it's so simple, and I'm going to show you how to do it. All we do is we take this chicken, we turn it upside down, and then from this point here to this point here, there's a bone running all the way through. What we need to do is make an incision, both sides, either side, and just cut that bone out. I find the easiest way to do this is with a big meat cleaver. You can do it with scissors, but I think scissors are going to be a little bit ineffectual on a chicken this size. So I've got my large Savanac meat cleaver. Now, what I want to do is give myself a guideline here. So I cut here with the cleaver, and as you can see, some of that flesh is coming away already. Then I cut my second line here, and now that is my guideline for where I want to remove this bone. And this is where you can get to be a bit savage with it. So making sure your hands are out of the way but steadying this chicken, we just take a nice big and I'm just using predominantly the top of the blade here to just cut through this bone. Where it gets a little bit thicker, we go in, and you probably heard that bone break there. And as you can see, we're making good incisions all the way through till we get to the bottom here, where this is also going to be a bit tougher. But there we go. But there you go, just a little bit of work, a little bit of pressure on the blade. Make sure you sharpen your blade up after that, and that bone is out. That is pretty much all we need to do. I mean, you can use this to make some stock if you want to, but I tend to just throw that away. I know that the chefs out there will be going mad about that. And what you're left with really is the open cavity here at the back. Now what we need to do is flip it back over. It's still kind of looking like a standard chicken here, but what we need to do is get both hands, obviously making sure they're nice and clean, and we need to put a lot of pressure. And you hear that click? That click is almost the chest bone, if you like, just opening out, and then we've managed to flatten that chicken out. And as you can see, it's much flatter, which is going to give us a kind of shallower structure to the chicken, which means it's going to cook a lot quicker. Now what we need to do is what you could do as well, and what I might do now is go in and just trim out some of these internal bones here. We don't want to trim out too many, because what it will do is it will lead to the chicken falling apart. But there's a couple of bones that you can go in here and tidy up, and then you don't have to do that when the cook is finished. So I might get in here with my boning knife and do that now. Okay, so we're back over here with the boning knife, and hopefully what you can see is that we've got some little bones here. Now these are like chicken rib bones, and we don't really want them in there. So I'm just going through with a knife, just trying to make sure I don't take out too much meat, but I'm just getting rid of these bones, which are not going to add anything to our dish at all. And it's really simple. As you can see, they just run down here, so you just need to be very careful, because this boning knife is very sharp. But just create a little bit of a cavity, and then we just want to trim these bones out. So the seasonings that we're going to be using today have been sent to me by a pretty new company on the scene in terms of rubs and sauces. They're called Lo Slo. They're based in Northern Ireland, I think, and like I said, they're pretty new to the scene, but they're certainly not new to the barbecue scene. I think they started out as a food truck and have a food truck and do American style street food. They've produced, I think, a total of 3 rubs and 2 sauces. I've got 3 of them here. They have sent them all to me, but what I've done is also, if you have a look on our Facebook group, which I'll post a link to down below, I sent another load of the sauces and rubs out for other people to kind of use and review as well. The guys have linked up with us and asked us to do a review of this, which is precisely what we're going to do. Let me talk to you about the rubs that they've got. So the one I've got here is their smoky paprika. That's what we're going to be using on this chicken. It does say that this is a pork butt rub. However, that sounds odd when you say it, doesn't it? However, what I like to do is try these rubs out on chicken, because chicken is obviously not the strongest of tastes in the world. And if you're going to get the taste of a seasoning and a rub, you're going to get it in the chicken. So that's why I'm reviewing it on the chicken. Another one of their rubs is this Mighty Mustard Dry Rub, which is for beef. And we've tried that before, and that is absolutely fantastic. I used that to make some chicken, southern fried chicken bao buns the other day, and I added this into the seasoning. The other rub that they have is a ghost chili and seaweed, which we will try at a later date. And they've got two sauces as well. So there's a chili mop sauce to start off with, which is a little bit more runny in texture than a normal barbecue sauce, because it's there to be mopped onto meat as you're barbecuing. But the one that we're going to be trying today as part of this chicken recipe is their original barbecue sauce. All of their sauces here are 100% vegan, and I think they're all gluten-free as well. So if that's a consideration for you, I'd give these guys a go. I'll put the link to their page down below, and I tag them into this video on Facebook and so on. Please do go and have a little look and see how you get on with their site. So now it's time for us to get some of this product onto the chicken. So just before we get going with the rub, what I like to do to prep the chicken spatchcock wise is just flip it over, and obviously, as you can see, we've got quite a lot of skin here, which we're going to leave on. I like the skin, but I'm just going to make a few light incisions in and around the legs and the drumsticks, and just across the breasts here. And that is to enable some of the rub and seasoning that we've got just to get into this meat and make sure that we get good flavour coverage throughout. When you spatchcock a chicken, the best part about it is that you're going to get half with skin, half without. So for those that really like the skin, that's great. You've still got skin on there. But for those that are not so keen, you can chop from behind here and you can get to the meat rather than having to go through the skin. I like to season every aspect of this chicken from front to the back. So I'm using a bit of a binder here, which today is just some Worcester sauce. You'll find that, yes, that is quite a strong flavour for chicken. However, because we're going to be smoking it, we're going to lose some of that flavour and it will cook out. So don't worry about being too liberal with that. And like I said, today we're going to be using this Lo Slo Mighty Paprika rub along with their barbecue sauce. Yes, this is predominantly for pork. However, I think the light, subtle flavour of chicken also works really well with paprika, because there's lots of paprika in things like chorizo as well, which is really, really good, and I think they work together real well. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that this chicken, the back side of this chicken, is completely doused in this rub. Give that a real good covering. And then we're going to flip it. And we're going to basically repeat the process, which is more Worcester sauce. And this is where we have to work it in, because we've made these little incisions into the breasts and the thighs and so on. So we want to make sure that the flavour gets in there as well. So make sure that every part is covered. And this is going to help the rub bind really nicely to this chicken. But let's just go again with that. And that's beautiful. Now, what we're going to do with this is we're going to get this on the Kamado Joe. We're not going to cook it low and slow. We're going to smoke it at a relatively high heat, relatively high in comparison to things like pulled pork and so on. So we're going to aim for about the 175 mark. So as I said, we're going to be testing a couple of products today. Another product that was sent to me recently is quite an interesting one. It was sent to me by a company called Armita. And it is their version of a smart wireless meat probe. Now, essentially what this is a cheaper alternative to the meter probe, and they sent me one with a view to giving it a fair and honest review, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Packaging, very good, looks nice and sleek, looks nice and straightforward. You can download the app on here, the R-meter app, to iPhone and Android, which I have done. And then when you open up the product, what you get is this. This is a kind of hard plastic case with a locking device on it. The batteries for the device sit in the back here, which is all relatively straightforward. And then once you undo the device, what you've got is this, and hopefully you can see that. It's a metal probe with a ceramic top, which I assume is where the temperature readings come from. You clip it out and that's what you're left with. So very, very, very similar to the meter probe. Where it differs is this ceramic top here. This is the R-meter 1, denoted with the symbol 1 on there, and you can buy them in 3s and 4s and so on, and obviously they come with different numbers, so you've got different probes for different areas of your grill or different meats and so on. The case doubles up as a charging case, so you can see there's two little kind of connectors here where they make a connection and charge this system up. And yeah, initial thoughts are, you know, looks okay. I downloaded the app, so let's just show you that. The app is relatively straightforward. It connects via Bluetooth, and it can also kind of connect wirelessly via your Bluetooth. The app is relatively straightforward. Hopefully you can see this. I'll give you a better view if not, but you can see that my my probe isn't showing as live at the moment because it's sitting in the case, but when it comes out I literally just press my start button, and I have loads of different choices here as to which meat I can choose and to which temperatures, and it also gives me a graph, but I'll show you more of that during the cooking process. I've got the Kamado coming up to temperature now. Next thing is going to be to get our chicken on, insert this probe, and just see how it goes. Okay, so here we go. We've got our Kamado Joe set up using the slow roller today, and I've got a normal basket of charcoal underneath, and I've got a few oak chips in there which are giving off this lovely smoke, this lovely kind of clear smoke. And we're going to go skin side down straight onto the grill. As you can see, I've got the R-meter in the thickest part of the meat, which is the breast, and I've got that set up for a whole chicken cook. We're just going to close this down now and see how we get on. Okay, so my R-meter is telling me that I'm about halfway through this cook, and I just want to see how we're going. And that looks pretty decent, doesn't it? We're getting some nice colour on there. Just turn these thighs over, let's have a little look. Yeah, that's looking real good. Yeah, we've got good colour on there. What I'm going to do now is I am going to flip this chicken over so we get a little bit more kind of searing and colour on the chicken here as well. But I'm going to add a layer of this barbecue sauce. So literally, wow, that's a lot thicker than I thought it was going to be actually. That's a lovely looking sauce. Let's just get some of this over the top of this chicken. Again, I did say, quite happy with the temperature here, you know, we're getting a good sizzle. It's we are smoking this chicken, but we're not looking to slow cook it, you know, we're not low and slow. We're going relatively fast and hot. So I'm going to close this down and give this another 5 minutes just on this side to let that sauce settle in. Then we're going to flip that over, get some colour on this side, get some barbecue sauce on the other, and then it'll be ready to pull this chicken. Okay, so as you can see, we've now removed the slow roller from the Kamado Joe, and we've just got this working on direct heat now. Not really to cook this through, this chicken is pretty much done. We just want to get a little bit of colour and a little bit of sear on here, a little bit of crispiness to that chicken. I like the fact that the juices start to now drop down onto the charcoals, and that gives that charcoal a lovely flavour that it's going to impart back onto that meat. Let's just check what our R-meter is saying. So we're aiming for, I still haven't converted this back into centigrade, it's still working in Fahrenheit, and it's saying they're at 131, and we're aiming for 170. So I like what it gives you here. It gives you, it says here trend, and that arrow will either point up or down. And I think that really is just a nice helpful way of letting you know whether you've got a stall in your cook or anything like that. So now what we're going to do is just keep turning this chicken, make sure we get some decent griddle marks on it. I'm going to keep topping up on this barbecue sauce and making sure we've got a really nice glaze on that. We want a nice covering, but we also want this skin to remain quite crispy. So we're going to keep topping this up, keep turning this around. Okay, so our chicken is now off of the Kamado. It's been resting for a minute or so, and take a little look at that. Doesn't that look wonderful? So we've got the beautiful smoky paprika dry rub on here, and we've also then finished it off over the open heat with the original barbecue sauce from Lo Slo. I've removed the armature probe now, which got us to 170 Fahrenheit, or about 74 in centigrade. And what I want to do now is open this chicken up and have a look inside. So let's get into this chicken and see how it's actually cooked. But more importantly, let's see the flavour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my knife, I'm going to separate one of these breasts from the joint. That's nice and easy to do because we've basically removed the bone. It's another reason that spatchcocking is really good, because in terms of portioning up, because you've removed the bone, look how simple it is. So if you've got guests that really like the leg meat, there you go, there's one portion. If you've got someone that likes the breast, there's another. You know, it's very, very easy to portion up already. What we're looking for here is the kind of cooked texture inside. So I want to take a piece of this breast meat and just see how we're getting on for moisture. So there is that breastbone still inside there, which I'm just going to separate out and cut through. There we go. Now I'm going to take my cut from here straight through the center of the breast, because I want to see if we've retained moisture in there. And hopefully you can see that that is very, very moist. And I'm going to take this centerpiece here and give that a go. Hopefully you can see just how juicy that is and how moist that is. This meat here has stayed so succulent and juicy, and it's cooked all the way through perfectly. So fair play to the armature, that has worked wonderfully. Pulled that up at a lovely temperature. So I'm just wading in into some more pieces of this chicken. There you go, look. Just take a look at that. Beautiful. So moist. The flavour's lovely as well. What I would say is that fair play to that armature, it's cooked this to perfection. It's really, really good. It's pretty hard to mess chicken up, I know, but once it goes over, it goes so dry. Let's talk a little bit about the flavours on this chicken. So again, we use the Lo Slo smoky paprika and the original barbecue sauce. It works fantastically with chicken. Absolutely can see it working superb with pork as well, because what you've got is there's a bit of pepperiness to that paprika. So I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't just some smoked paprika in there, but also some sweet or spicy, sweet and spicy paprika in there, or maybe just some sugar, because you're getting that tang. The barbecue sauce comes in and it's not too sweet, because that's kind of a bit of a pet hate of mine with barbecue sauces, where they're just loaded with sugar and everything ends up tasting the same. That isn't. That's got a little bit of kind of the vinegary texture with it, almost like the Franklin's vinegar barbecue sauce, or the vinegar sauce, you know. Really, really, really nice. Everything works together really, really nicely on this, and the barbecue sauce on the chicken skin has helped it go extra, extra crispy. It's really, really good. Do have a look at Lo Slo's products. I'm going to put a link to them below, and I'll also tag them in on the socials as well. Let's now talk about this armature as well. So this little thing here has surprised me. So is it as good looking and as kind of sleek as the meter? No. However, this isn't £99. This is £54, I believe. So you're saving 45 quid there by getting this. Now, does it need a little bit more testing? Absolutely. I've only used it once, but the one time I have used it, it's not let me down. It's not disappointed. It's been really, really good. So I'll continue to test it. Armature were very good to send me this, so thank you. I think they're also looking at doing the giveaway on our Facebook page as well, so stay tuned for that. I think the guys at Lo Slo might also be looking to do a little bit of a discount code for us, which is always really, really good. But, you know, if you're stuck for something to do in this lovely kind of late summer sunshine that we've got, get the barbecue on, get the chicken out, spend an hour or so and just end up with a beautiful lunch like this using some very simple but quality products. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and subscribe if you like this video, and I'll see you again soon.